We have some exciting news for all of you. We've completely solved the pronunciation mistakes issue. From now on, we have a brand new narrator who will pronounce everything 100% correctly. We know exactly what our subscribers want, and we're always working hard to improve our videos for you. So if you love this new, clear voice and pronunciation, hit the hype button and don't forget to subscribe. That's all we ask from you. Enjoy the video. Let's get started with our first news. Jack Della Maddalena is set to make the biggest walk of his career, headlining UFC 322 on November 15th against Islam Makhachev. The former lightweight champion is moving up to welterweight, and he's coming straight for JDM, who recently claimed the division's crown by defeating Bal Muhammad back in May. For JDM, this is not just another fight. It's an opportunity to cement himself as a global superstar, and he's brimming with confidence. Speaking at a training session in Australia, he didn't hesitate to lay out his intentions. "I'm going to go for it," he said. "Obviously, the best-case scenario would be to get the finish. I can see it happening. I can see blowing the roof off MSG, taking out the pound-for-pound #1 with no doubts. A finish would be the dream." These are not the words of a man intimidated by Islam's legacy. They are the words of a champion who believes he can shock the world. Still, JDM knows exactly what Islam brings to the cage. He understands the challenge. He made it clear that he expects Islam to push his wrestling early, saying, "It's going to start on the feet and we'll go from there." I think he's going to try and mix it up. He'll probably get on the wrestling early. Looking back at the Bal fight, he probably thinks Bal's mistake was not wrestling enough in the beginning. I expect the first round to have some grappling exchanges. With that, JDM has his eyes on both striking and wrestling, preparing for one of the most complete fighters the sport has ever seen. Of course, Islam's power and dominance are well known. Just ask Alexander Volkanovski, who stepped up on short notice in 2023 and was brutally knocked out. Yet even Volk, in a recent interview, admitted that he can see JDM pulling off the upset. "JDM's boxing and the pressure he can do, incredible," said Volk. "He definitely can get a finish. Islam's great. Him moving up, he's still a nightmare for most of the division. But I think JDM can do it." Hearing those words from someone who has shared the cage with Islam only adds weight to the possibility. UFC 322 at Madison Square Garden is set for explosion. On one side, Islam looking to prove his greatness at 170. On the other, JDM with the chance to deliver the knockout that changes everything. November 15th will be a night the MMA world will never forget. Move on to another news. Michael Chandler says he's at peace if Conor never fights again. The lightweight contender has made it clear that while he would love the chance to share the octagon with the sport's biggest superstar, his life and legacy will not be defined by whether that fight happens or not. Speaking about Conor's uncertain future, Chandler showed nothing but respect. He explained that if Conor chooses to walk away from fighting, he will wish him nothing but the best. "If he never comes back, never fights again, I wish him well in retirement," Chandler said. "I will always support him if he ever needs me for anything." Those words carried sincerity, showing that Chandler is at a point in his career and life where he's not holding on to any bitterness about missed opportunities. Still, make no mistake, Chandler's competitive fire remains. He admitted that if Conor does decide to return, there is no better stage for their clash than the upcoming UFC White House event. With passion in his voice, Chandler painted a vivid picture of what that moment would mean to him. "I would love to punch him in the face in the middle of the octagon at the White House," he said. "Get my hand raised with the stars and bars draped around me, kiss my wife, collect my paycheck, and then go celebrate with America." His words perfectly captured the dream scenario he envisions. One that ties together his fighting spirit, family pride, and patriotic passion. For Chandler, it's not just about the fight, it's about the bigger picture. He has long been one of the most driven and passionate athletes on the roster, constantly expressing gratitude for the opportunities fighting has given him. Whether it's competing on the biggest stage, putting on entertaining performances, or inspiring others through his journey, Chandler has consistently carried himself with energy and positivity. That same mindset is why he's at peace with the uncertainty around Conor's future. If Conor never steps back into the cage, Chandler knows he has already built a career filled with memorable moments and battles that fans will never forget. But if the Irish superstar does decide to lace up the gloves again, Chandler will be waiting, ready to turn that vision into reality. The idea of fighting Conor at such a historic and symbolic venue would be the pinnacle of spectacle and entertainment, exactly the kind of fight Chandler has always thrived on. With or without Conor, Chandler's story continues. His determination, his love for the sport, and his passion for the spotlight will keep driving him forward. And while he may be at peace with whatever happens, the thought of that showdown at the White House still burns brightly in his mind. Move on to another news. Joe Rogan doesn't think Du Plessis will ever be able to beat Khamzat. On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, he broke down what he saw as one of the most lopsided displays of dominance inside the octagon. Rogan pointed out that while some fans felt the fight was boring because it went to a decision, the truth is, what Khamzat did inside that cage was nothing short of remarkable. According to Rogan, when you're watching that kind of control against a reigning world champion, you have to appreciate the magnitude of it. He explained that going into the fight, the narrative surrounding Du Plessis was massive. Many believed he was destined to become one of the greatest middleweights of all time. His resume spoke for itself. He knocked out Robert Whittaker in emphatic fashion, dismantled Israel Adesanya to capture the title, and then turned around and beat Sean Strickland not once, but twice. With those performances, people were beginning to place him among the elites, maybe even in the GOAT conversation. Fans and analysts alike were saying, oh my God, this guy might actually be one of the greatest to ever do it. But everything changed after he shared the cage with Khamzat. Rogan emphasized just how stark the contrast was. He described it as a moment where all of the hype surrounding Du Plessis came crashing down, because Khamzat made it clear there was a gap that seemed almost impossible to close. Rogan repeated it with conviction. I don't think he's ever going to beat that guy. I don't think he's ever going to beat that guy. He stressed that it wasn't a matter of slight adjustments or training camps. In Rogan's view, the difference between them was so significant that even with years of work, there might never be enough time to bridge that gap. That is the level of dominance Khamzat showed. The ability to nullify the strengths of a fighter like Du Plessis, who came into the fight riding a wave of historic wins, sent a powerful message to the division. Rogan admitted that people need to respect what that kind of performance means. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't a highlight reel knockout, but it was control, and it was absolute. He explained that dominance at that level is a rarity in MMA, especially when it comes against a fighter considered one of the top pound-for-pound athletes in the world. For Rogan, it's not about diminishing what Du Plessis has accomplished. He acknowledged the incredible run that brought him to the top of the middleweight division. But when you put him next to Khamzat, it becomes a different story. The fight exposed the separation in skill, physicality, and presence inside the cage. Rogan made it clear that fans should shift their perspective after witnessing something like that. When a fighter makes a world champion look ordinary, it speaks volumes about who the real force in the division is. At the end of the day, Rogan's message was simple. Appreciate greatness when you see it, even if it doesn't come in the form of explosive finishes. Khamzat's performance showed that sometimes sheer dominance is more telling than anything else. And as Rogan said, he just doesn't believe Du Plessis will ever find a way to beat that man. Move on to another news. Corey Sandhagen has officially found out he's fighting Merab for the bantamweight title at UFC 320, and the moment was caught on camera. Sandhagen posted the video himself, showing the exact instant Hunter Campbell called to give him the news. In the caption, Corey joked about what he was doing at the time, writing, "Cute little vid of me getting the call to fight for the title. I was making a dumb skit at the time. Hell yeah. Next week, we bring the title home, buddy." The video begins with Corey in the middle of filming something silly when his phone rings. It's Hunter Campbell on the other end, and immediately the tone changes. Hunter tells him straight, "Listen, you've always stepped up for me, man. If I see an opening, I told you I would give it to you. I saw an opening where I think it makes sense, and I was going to jump on it." At that point, Sandhagen realizes what's happening, and his face lights up with excitement. Hunter confirms it. Corey Sandhagen is officially getting the title shot against Merab. The fight is set for October 4th in Las Vegas, headlining UFC 320. The raw reaction is pure joy. Corey bursts out, "Hey, let's go. I appreciate you. I'll be ready for then. Let's go." "Thank you, dude." "Yeah, thank you, Hunter." The call ends, and Sandhagen can't contain himself. He explodes with emotion, shouting, let's go, boy! Let's go! Oh, yes! Yes! The energy radiates through the clip, capturing the kind of moment every fighter dreams about. For Sandhagen, this is the culmination of years of grinding at the top of one of the UFC's most competitive divisions. He's fought the best of the best, taken risks when others wouldn't, and stayed ready for opportunities. Now, it's all paying off. UFC 320 will mark the chance for him to finally strap UFC gold around his waist. The matchup itself adds even more intrigue. Merab has been on a relentless tear, using his pressure and wrestling to break opponent after opponent. Meanwhile, Sandhagen is one of the most creative and dangerous strikers in the sport, always bringing a unique style into the cage. Their collision will be a classic clash of styles, and the stakes couldn't be higher with the bantamweight title on the line. The video of Corey's reaction spread quickly across social media, with fans celebrating his long-awaited opportunity. His excitement, his joy, and his raw belief in himself made the moment even more powerful. It wasn't just another fight announcement. It was a fighter's dream being realized in real time. Sandhagen is ready, Merab is waiting, and UFC 320 in Las Vegas just became a must-see event. Move on to another news. The UFC Perth main card has suffered a major blow as the heavyweight bout between Justin Tafa and Louis Sutherland has been cancelled. The UFC officially reported that Tafa was forced to withdraw due to illness, but shortly after, Louis Sutherland took to Instagram to give his side of the story. In a video addressed directly to fans, Sutherland explained what he had been told and expressed his disappointment about losing the opportunity to perform on such a big stage. "How's it going, people? Louis Sutherland here, UFC heavyweight. I've got some bad news," he began. "Some of you might have already heard, but my opponent had to pull out of the fight this morning. On weigh-in day, he couldn't make the weight. I heard he was a few pounds over, and he's had to go to hospital. So, the fight's off." His tone was calm, but heavy with frustration, making it clear that this was not how he envisioned Fight Week playing out. Sutherland went on to say he hopes the UFC gets him booked again as quickly as possible. "Hopefully the UFC get me out sharpish. I was ready to put on a show for you guys, but unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles," he said. It was obvious he had been fully prepared for the fight, eager to put on a performance. And the cancellation came as a massive letdown. Despite the setback, Sutherland carried himself like a professional, choosing to focus on what he could control. "I'm gutted, but it is what it is. I turned up professional, ready to go, and ready to smash, really. So yeah, I just thought I'd let you know myself." Those words showed his commitment to staying positive and accountable, even when things didn't go according to plan. This cancellation is particularly disappointing for the Perth card, which had been building momentum as one of the UFC's marquee events in Australia. Heavyweight fights always bring added anticipation, and the matchup between Tafa and Sutherland promised fireworks. Both men are known for their heavy hands and willingness to stand in the pocket, so fans were expecting an explosive clash. Instead, the bout has been scrapped at the very last moment, leaving a hole in the lineup that can't easily be filled. For Tafa, the situation raises questions about his health and preparation. The UFC officially listed illness as the reason, while Sutherland suggested weight issues may have also been involved. Either way, it's a setback for the Australian heavyweight, who had been looking to make a statement in front of his home crowd. For Sutherland, the cancellation robs him of valuable momentum and exposure, but he made it clear he's still motivated and ready to compete as soon as possible. Fight cancellations are an unfortunate reality in mixed martial arts, and this one stings for both the fighters and the fans. Still, Sutherland's professionalism and determination to move forward left a strong impression. While the bout with Tafa is off, his message to supporters was simple: stay ready, because when the call comes again, he'll be prepared to step into the octagon and deliver. UFC Perth may have lost one heavyweight clash, but Louis Sutherland's hunger to perform is only growing stronger. Move on to another news. Jiri Prochazka is preparing for both Khalil Rountree and Magomed Ankalaev as UFC 320 draws near. Prochazka is officially booked to fight Khalil Rountree Jr. on October 4th in Las Vegas, a matchup that pits the number 2 ranked light heavyweight against the number 4 contender. But while Rountree is the scheduled opponent, Prochazka has made it clear that he's also getting ready for a possible clash with Ankalaev, should the UFC need to shuffle the lineup. Earlier this year, Prochazka ensured that his name remained firmly in the title mix by taking out Jamahal Hill, That win re-established him as one of the top threats at 205 pounds. And heading into UFC 320, his position in the rankings leaves him just one step away from another crack at the belt. With Alex Pereira and Ankalaev set to rematch for the championship on the same card, the UFC has essentially placed its key players all in one place. If anything unexpected happens in the main event, they'll have options ready to keep the division moving. In a recent interview, Prochazka was asked if he's preparing for 3 different opponents at UFC 320, given that Pereira is also fighting that night. He quickly clarified his approach. After a more detailed discussion with the manager, I'd say it's more like 2. It's for Roundtree, and more likely for Ankalaev as well. If Ankalaev were to drop out, I don't know if it would be a title fight with Pereira, or if it would happen at all. I don't think so, or it's rather unlikely. So the preparation is for Roundtree and possibly Ankalaev. His mindset is a perfect reflection of the uncertainty that comes with being a top contender in the UFC. Anything can happen on fight week. Injuries, weight issues, or last-minute changes can alter the card instantly, and Prochazka wants to be ready no matter what. Training for Roundtree presents its own challenges. Roundtree has been on a violent run through the division, showcasing brutal striking power and highlight reel finishes. But preparing for Ankalaev is a completely different task. The Russian's patient, technical style, and grappling threat make him one of the toughest puzzles at light heavyweight. Prochazka is approaching both possibilities with the same intensity, ensuring he's not caught off guard. The stakes couldn't be higher. With Pereira and Ankalaev already locked in for the title fight, Prochazka knows a win over Roundtree could cement him as the next in line. But being ready for Ankalaev as a backup scenario also means he could find himself in a championship fight sooner than expected. His words show he's realistic about the situation, understanding that Pereira is unlikely to be swapped out, but still preparing in case Ankalaev is forced to withdraw. For fans, this adds an extra layer of excitement to UFC 320. Not only do they get Pereira vs Ankalaev 2 for the title, but also a co-main event with serious implications. Prochazka's adaptability, his warrior mindset, and his readiness for multiple opponents highlight exactly why he's considered one of the most dangerous men in the division. UFC 320 is shaping up to be a defining night for the light heavyweight landscape, and Prochazka is making sure he's prepared for anything.